of wrestling, I'd like to just do a word association with a few of the main characters, mainly in the UK. Just a few thoughts on wrestlers, if I give you one at a time. Starting with the Dynamite Kid.
Dynamite Kid, one of the best. One of the best light heavyweights in the world, for sure. In the top 5, for sure. He was, like me, devoted to the business, put 110% in, committed. He's paid for that. He's very badly injured now. He's got a bad problem with his leg. But a fantastic technician, lived for the business, and I spoke to him a couple of years ago. He's not doing that clever. He's badly injured from the business, from the wrestling business.
And Marty Jones.
Again, one of my best opponents. When I say best or hardest opponents, he was definitely one of the hardest for sure. He was fearless, Marty. If you said, if you don't do that, you will chop your finger off. He'd have the finger lost because he wouldn't do anything he didn't want to do. He was dedicated to the job as well. There's a handful of people that live the life by wrestling, and he was one of them.
David Finlay.
David Finlay, I've got a great deal of respect for Dave Finlay. Again, one of the best. Again, one of the best in his era, in his time. One of the best, and he's still doing very well now. I'm thankful to say. I spoke to him not that long ago. I actually went over to Germany from an invitation from Tony Claire. I don't know if Germany was over there, and we have a very nice relationship. He was. The last time I wrestled in the UK, I was on with Dave Finlay, and it was a very, very hard match, and that was my last match. So he retired me, and I'm glad that my last match was with somebody as good as Dave Finlay, because he is good.
Mick McManus.
Mick McManus was an old man when I first started in the business. Mick McManus had a big hold over the job because he was the booker for Dale Martins for many, many years, and he had the pencil and put the shows on, always put himself top of the bill, and made sure that the powers that be, that all the promotions company, always saw the figures that were very good with him on the bill. So he then, the same thing that I said before, he was using me in a lower position when he was almost top of the bill, and the people were coming to see me, and he was getting the credit for it and getting the payment for it. So that stopped, but I'm still friendly with him. I know his son very well, Tony, and he was a great friend of mine when I was a kid, and good support. And Mick is a very clever man, a very clever wrestling brain, and no more knowledgeable person in the business you could ever find than Mick McManus. And in his day, he was the best. Like Jack Pike was the best villain at one period, in one era, without any doubt at all. Mick McManus was the person that they knew as the wrestling villain.
Kendo Nagasaki.
Well, Kendo Nagasaki was on a different level. He's had this aura about him for so many years. He's been at the top for so many years. I think he's been at the top longer than anybody else. And with that, I've got great respect for him. You must remember that this fella's background is phenomenal. He was junior powerlifting champion at 16, British title. He comes from a very, very wealthy family. He was sent to Japan, and he learned his skills in Japan, and he is a legend still, not for being Kendo Nagasaki, but for the dojos, the gyms he went to learn his trade at in Japan, still remember him 30 years, 40 years later. They still remember him. He is still a legend in Japan, with the people in the know. But he's got a great talent.
Big Daddy.
Big Daddy was promoted to be a main event top liner. Very clever operation to create a big fat man into being a hero and an icon, which they very cleverly did. And they got the kids on his side and everything. But as you know yourself, you can promote anything to being famous. You see it every day. They've got reality programs where some little girl that's a barmaid becomes has great fame because of showing her boobs on a reality show. But Big Daddy, in his early days, he was a bodybuilder, and he was a fantastic physique, and he grew up through the business, and he never was a really top of the bill man. He was always on the show, and I've seen him in different guises. I saw him as the big Busby hat on at one period of time. He was a Legionnaire or something, and he used to march in and out of the ring. But Max and his operation took him and made him into a big star, which, to his credit, he carried out to the best of his ability. He was very limited because of his size and his ability, what he could do. Strong though. I'll tell you a little story about him, and not that I'm a fan of Big Daddy at all, but I've got to say this to you. I was friendly with him. He was a nice guy, and I went with him to train at Crystal Palace in London. And Big Daddy used to get his trainers on, and this is when he was huge, he was massive. He used to get his trainers on and run around the track. Now, he was about 30 stone, and he used to run slowly. He wasn't sprinting, he was running, but he used to jog around the track at Crystal Palace. And I used to jog with him, and he used to really put it in. Jogging and swimming, that was his game. And he could jog, he could run. Now, not many fat men can run. I could run like the wind at once, I can't now. You know what I mean? But he could run, he could jog, But just a steady pace, jog, but go forever. And his breath was fantastic. He never got out of breath in it. And I saw Jeff Capes see him, and I was just over the other side. And Jeff Capes came and tried to befriend Daddy, and he went, "Ah, Big Daddy," All this wrestling, he said, it's all a load of nonsense, isn't it? Come on, I'll wrestle you. And Jeff Capes went to throw his arms around Daddy and sort of grapple with him. And Big Daddy said, "Excuse me, just stand back." It wasn't, he said, "Don't." And he did it again. And Big Daddy tucked his arm under, picked him up and went, bump, and threw him on the floor. Just like a piece of rubbish. And Jeff Capes is a huge guy, And Big Daddy just picked him up, he put his arms around his neck, which is the worst thing he can do. And Big Daddy, all he did was that, and he picked him up and he went, bump, on the gravel, right outside the dressing rooms at Crystal Palace. And Big Daddy, as if nothing had happened, walked in the shower room, got undressed on the shower. And I said, flipping heck. Oh, Jeff Capes she'd just thrown on the floor. And Big Daddy went, and Jeff Capes came in the dressing room and he was crying, apologising. Very emotional fellow, Jeff Capes. I've seen him cry a few times. And he was crying, "I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry." And Big Daddy said, "Don't worry, son, you're all right." And treated him like a little boy, and that's the truth. And I've got great respect for him for that.
His brother, Max Crabtree.
Max Crabtree, the cleverest wrestling brain, apart from Vince McMahon in the world. He was a supremo. Unfortunately, family came first, and if Max Crabtree had have promoted different people than promoted his brother, and he hadn't had a Yorkshire attitude with keeping people in the place, WWF or WWE wouldn't have better smell him. Because when our early shows, you've got to remember this, when our early shows were on Saturday afternoon TV, I used to go to America, and the boys in America used to revere our television programs. They could not believe it, because their TV programs were different things. Their TV programs were bought time from the local TV stations, because the national TV now in America, it's not always been national TV, it was regional TV, always. So if you wanted to promote a show in Wisconsin, you'd have the stars of the show in the afternoon or the week before, go in the arena with nobody in, do a bit of a ham falling out episode to get the people in for the night time. And the guys that did the afternoon things never got paid to do it. They only got paid on the entrance in the arena. So they didn't want to do it in a village hall in front of 50 people. They didn't want to go out for it and do it. So their shit TVs were very second rate, And our TV shows were absolutely revered by the Americans until the change around with the Vince McMahon new era when it all started. With the Hulk Hogan era, that's when it all changed. But Max Crabtree had that before the Americans and had his hands full of talent. And had his hands full of famous people that were household names. Don't forget, America, they used to put wrestling shows at 3 o'clock in the morning and all that, and still people still watched it. We had Saturday afternoon, 4 o'clock. Everybody's home Saturday afternoon, 4 o'clock. The husband's out watching football, the wife's at home, all the kids are at home. We were in everybody's living room. My face was in everybody's living room, half an hour, every other Saturday or every third Saturday, for 20 years. And Max Crabtree took all of that, threw it all up in the air and pulled out of all that talent that he had in his hands. You've got to remember some of the time, it was phenomenal. And he pulled out his brother. And then he tried to make his brother the star of every TV show that was on after that. And that was the mistake. That's why we turn the telly on now, we don't see World of Sport, we see WWE.
Giant hairstyles.
Giant Hairstyles. I met Giant Hairstyles before he started wrestling. He was driving a car for a friend of mine, and he came in my dad's pub, and he was the biggest man I'd ever seen. He wasn't as heavy as he is now, but he was a genuine about 6'10". And he was enormous. You know, to go through the door, he's higher, that was higher than a normal door. He got a duck, and to get through a door, he had to go sideways. And he wasn't as big as he was at the end, but he was a gentle giant and a very, very strong man. I saw him do incredible feats of strength that he took in his stride. He was a phenomenal character, a great character, a great speaker, but got nervous. He was very nervous. He wasn't a very confident person. And the reason he wasn't very confident, he said to me once, when I was 10, I was 15 stone. I was in a hotel with him in London, and I said to him, it's okay that I go ramble on a bit about this, but
ramble away.
I'll take other things about Giant. He was one of my favourite people. But he was in a hotel in London, and it was red hot. And I said to him, I'm going to go to the swimming bath. There was a big outside swimming bath in Brixton Park or somewhere. I used to go there in the afternoon. It was in London. I was wrestling that night. I used to go to the gym in the morning. In the afternoon, I'd go have a couple of hours sun, go to the arena, get there early, have a shower, relax before the event. So I said, I'm going to go to the swimming baths. So I was only meeting him, sat having breakfast. So he said, I can't swim. So I said, of course you'll be able to swim. A big fella like you, be very buoyant. He started to tell me the story about when he was 15, the kids used to laugh, the kids used to laugh at him because he was so fat. And when they all used to go to the swimming baths, he always used to have a doctor's note. He wasn't allowed to get his leg wet or something, you know. So he never shied away from the pool. So I said to him, okay. I said, I'll go with you. I'll take you with you. We'll go to the park and we'll have a day in the pool. So, right. So we set off, we get there. So he gets the turnstiles, you know, to give the girl your money and she'll open the turnstile. And the turnstiles are that wide, and Giant Hairstyles is that wide. So he tries to get through the turnstiles forwards, he tries to get through the turnstiles backwards. He ends up climbing over. I mean, he could just step over them, so he put one leg over. Just as he did it, about 3 little London kids came around the corner and saw his huge arse, you know. And they shouted, look at this, look at the side of his arse, you know. So he stepped over these turnstiles and ambled into the bath. And all the kids are following him now. They're all there, you know. So I said, look, you know, sit in this corner, just wait a minute. So now he's got a crowd around him, a big crowd around him. So I know he can't swim. So I thought, it's not going to jump in the pool and not being able to swim. So I said, when the kids have had the little look at you, let them just go in the pool and just sit. Don't go out your depth. So he goes in the pool, and he gets to the pool, he starts loving it, you know. He can just do a little bit of that, and he can start moving around in the pool. He loved it, he absolutely loved it, he had a great time. All the kids decided to dive bomb him. So they're running and they're jumping up in the air. The little kids at 10 years old can really hurt if they jump with both feet in your chest or whatever, you know. And they dive bombed him for about 5 minutes, you know, until he was all flummoxed and everything. He got out of the pool and he said, thank you very much. And he climbed back over the turnstile, got his car and said, but I've seen, let me tell you two funny stories. Two funny stories. One of them involves Dynamite Kid. The first one I want to take is about the plane trip to France. I had to go to wrestle in Paris with Giant Haystacks. So we get on the plane. It's one of those shuttle planes between Manchester and Paris to go. So we get on, and we're in 2 seats. The seat that's in front of us like that, and they've got fixed armrests, not the ones you can pick up. So he tries to get in his seat about 3 times, can't get in it. So he stood there. So I get he was very shy, you know, he wouldn't sort of make a fuss. So I went and got the stewardess and said, look, I know this isn't convenient, but this big guy can't fit there. Can we sit him in this aisleway that's the exit doors? Now the seats there actually arms lift up. So I said, can we sit him here? It was full, the plane was full, so there's 3 people in those chairs. So they said, we've got a guy that can't fit in this chair, can we ask you to move? One woman said she wouldn't move, the other, so we didn't argue with her. The other fella said, no, I'm not going to move. And the third fella sat in the aisle seat, said, no, I'm not going to move. And Haystacks just picked him up by the scruff of the neck and moved him. Just picked him up and put him on the floor and sat in the chair, you see. So this fella's carrying on, and eventually the captain came. Eventually we went to Paris, so we're on the way. Halfway through the flight, he wants to go to the toilet, so he goes. He gets through the bathroom door, so he opens it like this, he gets through it. So when he's in, it's like a lobster trap, he can't get out. And he can't pull the door back far enough to get back out again. So he goes and does what he's got to do, and he can't get out. So the plane now is ready to land. Well, all passengers put the seatbelts on. So the stewardess knocks on the door, and he said, I can't get out. So he opened the door a bit and looked round the door, and he said, I'm stuck, I can't get out. So she said, no. So she goes to the captain's desk, knocks on. They do a circuit. They don't land, they go round the circuit. So they said, can we can't land with him in the toilet. So then, you know, there's been a bit of a technical delay. We're going to have to circle the airport. We'll land in about 5 minutes. So the second fella comes out with a screwdriver. Second pilot, whatever. So they're trying to get him out, and they can't get him out. So they decide, right, they give him a seat belt. I don't know what he's going to tie it to. He said, you've got to put this, anchor yourself down to land. So through this little gap, they passed him a big seat belt, extended seat belt. And he's going, he's swearing there, fucking. So we land, right. So it makes the papers, it's in all the papers. Giant Haystacks gets stuck in the toilet. It's good for business, it's good publicity, it's good, he was in the paper, it's good. 2 weeks later, I'm flying, me, Dynamite Kid and Giant Haystacks and a few other guys are going to Africa somewhere, Zimbabwe or Zambia. So this is still fresh in our minds about getting stuck in the toilet. So Dynamite Kid and me, he has a little chat, Dynamite Kid, so he said to me, I've got some Binamin, opium medicine, chewing gum that's a diuretic, makes you go to the toilet. So we're on the plane. So he said to me, do you want a chewing gum? So yeah, thanks, Greg. Dynamite, do you want a chewing gum? He'd taken the Wrigley's packet off and put the other one in and put the Wrigley's packet on. So they gave him a doctored chewing gum. So he eats his chewing gum. He sat there for a bit. Dynamite said, do you want another one? So I'll have one. Yeah, so we give him another one. Right. After about the third one, he's like this. So what's the matter? He said, what about the toilet? So I said, you're not going to get in there, you're going to be stuck. Don't forget it's a 10-hour flight. We're about an hour in the flight. So I get the steward, I said, listen, I said, did you see it in the papers last week? He got stuck in the toilet. I said, what we're going to do? He said, there's one at the back that's for changing nappies in and that, you know. So she said, well, you'll be all right in that one. So we get him up, and we said, come on, we'll with you. So we're pretending to help, we're making it more embarrassing for him, you know what I mean? So he goes to his toilet at the back, and he won't go in it, he's nervous. He said, if I get in there, I'll be stood up for 10 hours with the door like that in my chest, you know. He said, I'm not going in it, So what we're going to do, so he's now desperate. So they all go away, the stewardesses, and they get someone else from the cabin, the front cabin, up at the back, and they get this big book out, nothing, and they open it, and they're looking through the book. They must have written the solution for every problem, so look through the book. It must say, big fat man can't fit in the toilet. So they must have so they find it, they go like that, they go, right. So they get the solution. So the solution is, so take the curtains off from the galley, walks to the back of the plane, stewardesses hold the curtains up at the back. Well, he gets in the plastic bag and has a dump in the plastic bag. Right, so the stewardess takes the curtain, everyone's going, what's going on here? All the people on the plane. So they take the curtains off, they walk to the back of the plane, and Giant Haystacks goes behind the curtains. And they give him a plastic bag. Now I'm just watching the operations at the back, so he's all quiet behind the curtains with his plastic bag. So I make sure there's a few fart noises going on. and I went, oh no, like this, you see. So Dynamite Kid started doing that, oh no. So Dynamite Kid starts pretending to vomit. It goes right down the plane. Everyone's going, oh, you know the smell, you know. So this bag comes round the curtain, and the girl with plastic gloves on gets it, and carries it right through the plane to the front of the plane, right, and just puts it somewhere, in a locker somewhere. So he's behind the curtain, right, so he comes out and he's like, he's grumbling, he walks back down. As he sits down, Dynamite said, do you want another chewing gum? Taste it. They gave him another chewing gum. So, and then you can imagine how many times that went on during the flight, 10-hour flight. But it was funny. He was an unbelievable character, though. He was.
Brian Dixon.
Brian Dixon, I've known Brian since I was 12. I used to stand at the back of the hall in Liverpool Stadium and watch the wrestling. And Brian's had a love for the job for all those years. And Brian's got a good vision. Brian's got good ideas on the business. And Brian's very generous. Everyone says he's a skinflint promoter and all the rest of it. But I've been in business a long time, and I know how hard it is sometimes to make ends meet with businesses. It's easy to run over, easy to get in the red, and easy to owe everyone money. Much easier, much better to get everything level and done properly. And Brian knows his pay structure, and he knows the people that matter, the people that bring them in, get the money, and the people that don't, and are just there to make up the numbers, don't get the money. So everyone that's really stingy haven't had my pay packets. Brian's paid me phenomenally well for all the times I've listened to him. I've never had once had a complaint. I've had with Brian where he said to me, I'll have to give you a cheque, and that's fine. And I've had credit with Brian for thousands of pounds, you know, but he's always paid it.
Jackie, Mr. TV Power.
I've said about him, he was one of the people who I first saw as a real star in the wrestling business. The other people I thought were just wrestlers. The first time Jackie Pallow really got to me when I thought to myself, this guy is a real star and a celebrity star, you know.
And Banger Walsh.
Banger Walsh, got a very mixed feeling about Banger Walsh. He's a very nice guy. He is a nice guy. His wrestling ability is very limited. He had his own little publicity campaign that he was saying everyone was better than he was. And he's got his own way of looking at things. He was never a great wrestler, and he'll tell you that himself. He was never a great wrestler. He was a celebrity. He was a good face, a good name on the bill, and he was a good stooge for Big Daddy, a perfect stooge for Big Daddy. But I didn't like some of the things that he exposed in his books and his paper and all the rest of it. But at the level he was at, he was lucky as well, because he got quite famous, where if he hadn't been, and he will hate me for saying all this stuff, I'm going to say, but because I quite like Banger. But some of the things he did he should have done, some of the things he exposed he should have done. The business wasn't bad for him. He's now a wealthy lad, and all the bad times he's had in wrestling have helped contribute to what he is now. And he's got a celebrity status, a certain amount of celebrity status, by being the Banger. He got his name for Banger Walsh. I'll say how he got his name. He came from Leamington, and there was a group of people in Leamington. There was Chris Adams. There was him, there was Johnny England, there was a few other people all lived in the Leamington area, and I was somewhere with Max Crabtree, and the car was late getting there, and where are they? Where the Leamington group, you know what I mean? And I said to Max, that lot, they're all headbangers, they'll be wrong place, or they've gone the wrong way, or whatever. And that name, Headbanger Walsh, he used to wrestle then. Max used to pick up on nicknames, and he picked up on that nickname. And then he couldn't stop saying it, Headbanger Walsh, Headbanger Walsh, Headbanger. And he used to bill him as Headbanger Walsh. And that name has made him a fortune, because when Mick Jagger came to England, and he said, where's the security people? They're here. Where's the banger? He asked for him in person. So does all that pop group era thing. They all remember the name Banger Walsh. So the name Banger has made him a wealthy man.
Johnny Saint.
Johnny Saint was one of the best wrestling technicians you've ever seen. He was Mr. Wrestling. George Kidd was the inventor of that technical mixture of Olympic wrestling, amateur wrestling, submission wrestling and professional wrestling all in one. And they brought to a very kick, punch and bite business a technicality that was very welcomed, and lots of wrestling fans really went for that. And Johnny Saint was one of the best exponents of it I've ever seen. George Kidd was the forerunner. George Kidd, as he got later in life, he ran out of speed a little bit, and Johnny Saint took over and did that. And Johnny Saint was put in lots of matches which he didn't suit him, lots of kicking and shouting and biting and throwing out the ring matches that wasn't John's style. John's style was true, pure wrestling, which he did very well at. It would never be top of the bill stuff unless he was on with someone like Matt McMahon or something. But he, as a technician, is as good as anybody.
Wayne Bridges.
Wayne Bridges was a great character. And he did well in America, but Wayne Bridges, he was physically phenomenal, fantastically strong. He was a good show and people loved him, and he was a very capable wrestler and did very well. But Wayne's a bit older than me, and Wayne was he had an unbelievable following in London. He was a real London wrestler, a fantastic following in London. And he was one of the ultimate baby faces in the business. Wherever he went, the crowd went to see him. They loved him. He was great. Wayne was great.
And finally, classic Colt Cabana.
Who's that?
Was a small-time indie wrestler in America. I think I saw him at the wrestling reunion. I think.
Is that the guy with the funny beard?
No, that's not him. No.
Is he the one with the? Is he the big ear, big cauliflower?
No. He sometimes, I believe, wrestles for a company, Ring of Honor.
I don't know.
No, nothing. So there's absolutely nothing you know about Colt Cabana at all?
No.
Okay, sorry about that. And
He's a rev gone.
What are your feelings towards the wrestling reunion? I mean, this year you went with your dad.
Yeah, it was nice to take my dad down to see the old guys and that. It was great to see. I was very pleased to see that there was a lot of love for the business still, and it's been and gone, it's era and it's gone now. And I sort of removed myself from that, and I'm doing other things now. I'm quite involved. I get quite excited about what I do now. I enjoy what I do now. But I enjoyed that part of my life was fantastic. And if you ever said to me, would you do it all again, I'd do it exactly the same way as I did it. Over my period in the business, I've met people that I would have never have met if I hadn't been in that wrestling business. I'm talking about famous people, I'm talking about royalty, I'm talking about people that you wouldn't, if I told you wouldn't believe me. Our wrestling fans that used to watch that 4 o'clock slot on Saturday afternoon are not just wrestling, as we say, punters. They were every walk of life. I met once in London a very influential barrister who was the guy that represented the airlines when the engines fell off one of the planes over somewhere. So they had a pretty high level, and I met him, and he's an English guy, he spent a lot of time in America, and he lives 2 doors away from where Margaret Thatcher lives. So I met him, and we had dinner in the same restaurant. He came over the table, And he said to me, I watched you every Saturday afternoon. He said, when I was growing up, I watched you every Saturday afternoon. I couldn't believe it. This guy's a real high flyer.
How's Jim Hussey doing as we speak?
Well, no, we've got on. Jim's doing good. He's 82. He's sharp as a tack. He's got his memory's fantastic. He's 82. I said to him, "Why are you walking that bit of a stoop?" He said, "When you're 82, you'll walk like that." My dad wrestled for a long time. My dad wrestled from when he was 15 until he was about 45, I think, 44, 45. So he was in the job 30 years. It's a long time that to get banged and knocked about, you know. And he's good. He's going to come over to Tenerife in a couple of weeks. He's going to come over, I think, in November. My mother's 80 in November. She's going to come here for a birthday. We're going to fly them over. And he's living in just a very quiet life. He takes things easy. He's doing good. He's great. He loves to go to the Western Union. He loves to see all the old fans and everything. Yeah. He didn't remember a lot of the. When I told him who they were, he immediately knew. But I mean, he's a little bit out of touch. But he was delighted to go to see it. He was thrilled to do it.
Well, that's really conclusive to do. I'd like to thank you immensely for being so interested, for your time, and it is for a good cause. What proceeds are going to the Wrestlers Reunion. Thank you for that. I can't thank you enough. And everybody who buys this DVD will either be a hardcore British wrestling fan or a Rollerball Rocco fan. And have you got any message at all just to say to them in closing?
Yeah, you've taken too much of my time now. This is the Rollerball speaking. I'm going to show you a couple of things you won't even believe. Come with me. Right, this is a little message for my wrestling fans, for the Rollerballs fans. This is my town. This is Las Americas. This is Tenerife. When you come here on holiday, remember, I'll be here, I'll be watching you. So any of the fans that come over here, you've got to remember that you're dealing with the Rollerball. I want to show you something. Hey, big fella, come on, I want to show you something. Come round here. You know what this is? I'm going to tell you what this is. This is a rickshaw, right? This is what people do for a living. When you ask me if my job's bent and it's fixed, no, it's not. It's not fixed, it's not bent. I've got this here to prove one thing. I do what I do, and I love wrestling. I've lived for wrestling all these years, and I've made lots of money doing it. This is to remind me I could have been doing this. Like those poor people in Thailand and all those places, they carry this around all day long to get enough money to buy a bowl of rice. Right? This is to remind me of all the things that I've got and all the wealth that I've got. This is how people live. This is how people. And it's. In fact, you get in here. You
I never said fixed. I never said fixed. I said predetermined.
Because you're not careful, I'll make you pull that up and down this big hill here.
That's it. I'm out of here.
You'll learn how. You'll learn some respect. In fact, you can go as well. Come on. You can go as well. In fact, get out of my place. Come on. Come on, out of my bloody place. Get out of here. Yeah? Long walk. It's a long walk. See you later.
Yes, thanks, Mark.
Don't thank me.
Let's get out of here.
I knew I shouldn't have asked him that question.
It's a long walk.
Where do we start?
Don't know.
We best go down this road, it's the only one. God, it's hot as well. Have you got a drink?
No. To find a water well somewhere. It's only about 10 miles to the nearest cafe.
This concludes the show. It's BWL, chucked out by Rollerball Rocco. Have a good week till next week.
Yeah. Hello? Not again.
I'm sorry about the other day. These are for your wife. I'm really sorry. And what I said about Colt Cabana without your permission, I'm really sorry.
Colt Cabana? Who's Colt Cabana? I'm sick of bloody Colt Cabana. Get out of my bloody office. Colt Cabana, who is he? I don't know him, never seen him. I don't want to see him, I don't even know him. Colt Cabana. talk about some real wrestling.
Colt Cabana's the future of British wrestling, whether you like it or not.
That's why wrestling in Britain is finished. That's the big reason why.
Let's go.
Greeting Grapple fans, my name's Paul Douglas and I helped make this DVD. I hope you enjoyed it. I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself, about British Wrestling Legends and about the DVD that we did. About myself, here I am at British Wrestling Legends headquarters. I'm a wrestling fan, as the Americans would call it, a mark, or as the English call it, a punter. Just a wrestling fan. Never taken a bump in anger, and every year I go down to the wrestling reunion to support them. I make the awards and I pay my respects. And on the subject of respect, I'd like to talk about respect in wrestling. It's very, very important. And as you'll see in this DVD, we met Mark Hussey, or Rollerball Rocco if you want, and I give big respect to him. What a career Mark Hussey had, an unbelievable career, and I give him respect. He welcomed into his home, as his wife did, made us very welcome, and for that I give him respect, absolute respect. He gave us his jacket. He actually gave me this jacket they got from Japan. Not just this jacket, he gave us two jackets, one from New Japan Pro Wrestling. He gave us them and welcomed into his home. He also gave me his time. He's a very busy man. He gave me his time, all in a good cause, the wrestling reunion, and for that I give him respect. But on the other side of the coin, you've got the lack of respect. Rollerball Rocco was invited and advertised to turn up at the wrestling reunion. He turned up late. He met the future of British wrestling, Colt Cabana. He pretended he knew him, and he didn't. I don't think that's very respectful. When we went to his home, I had to ask questions that were already checked by Rollerball Rocco. Every one of them. I asked one question, and one question only, that he did not agree to me to ask. I asked him his opinions on classic Colt Cabana, and he made a joke of it. He pretended that he didn't know who he was when he did. For that, I don't respect him. He then threw me and my family off his property for asking that very question. For that, I don't respect him. 2 days later, when we went to retrieve our filming equipment, I went, and to thank his wife I produced some flowers, and I went to apologise, and I still respected him. Even though he threw us off the property, I still respected him, and I went to apologise, and in return he threw us off his property twice. For that, I don't respect him. In closing, I'd like to say to Rollerball Rocco, if you're out there watching this DVD, and I know you will be because I'm sending you a copy, thanks for the jacket, Mark. Thanks for the jacket. I respect that. I appreciate that. Thanks for both jackets. But it don't quite fit. It's just a little bit tight. In fact, it's a bit warm in here. It's going to have to come off. I'm afraid it's going to have to come off. Because as far as I'm concerned, Mark, for the first time in your career, you showed fear. You were scared to show classic Colt Cabana, the future of British wrestling, the respect he deserved. You was frightened. For the first time in your career, you showed fear. As far as I'm concerned, Rollerball Rocco, you fear Colt Cabana.
This isn't the seafront, This isn't Kiss Me Quick. This is real Tenerife. This is where you need to. If you come to Tenerife, you need to come to these areas, which is real country living. They've got the best restaurants in the world up here, out on this mountain ridge. We've got, in this little tiny village here of Los Menores, we've probably got 10 good restaurants where you can go and eat a steak and have half a bottle of wine, and it costs you about £5, and it's unbelievable. You go down into the town, it costs you 3 times that much, or 4 times that much. They don't let you build in rural areas here, so we're very privileged to have a nice house here in this rural area that was built before the ban. But if you look at the urban sprawl down in the city there, I'm responsible for most of it, so I don't say too much about that. But it's a lovely change to come and move a little bit out the way and just be away from the tourism. Not that tourism is bad, I think it's fantastic. And this next weekend we'll be going down there and we'll stay at the bottom house with all the tourists and sitting on the beach and eating ice cream. It's nice to be able to come away from that and sit and contemplate the day, looking at the beautiful sunsets, having a pina colada, a gin and tonic, and just chilling. In a minute we'll be down in in Sodom and Gomorrah in Playa de las Americas. When anyone comes here on holiday, they need to look away from that and need to have a look at the real Tenerife and take some time and explore the island. I've been here 20 years and I'm still looking at the island, I'm still exploring the island, and I never get tired of looking at new things, and there's always something new to see. If you go to the north of the island, Puerto La Cruz, there's a totally different landscape than here. It is very arid. We're in a little separate microclimate here, where the weather's always hot, always warm. Even in Christmas. Christmas time is fantastic weather. We have rain twice a year, once maybe in November and once in February or March. And the rest of the time it's like this, it's beautiful. And if you like the outdoor life, if you like boating or swimming or whatever, this is the place to be. And if you want to buy a property, here, come and see me. Golf courses here are fantastic. They've got, at the moment they've got 6 golf courses. Now eventually, when all the plans are passed, they'll have 8 golf courses here at the end of the day. So if you're a golfer as well, it's fantastic to come and have a look here. Beautiful. Just a little shortcut that we take, just cut the corner. And this is the local village square. That's right there. Look. There's about 100 people live in this village. So that's all we need, a little village square there. This county that we're living in is a decade. This was taken from the Guanches in 1466. The Guanches were the indigenous peoples, and it was taken by the Spanish using Spanish and French mercenaries. And for the defeating the Guanches and taking the island, all the mercenaries were given different areas. And this area here, which is Adeki, as I've said, was given to a family called Bethencourt, who were French mercenaries. And for fighting in the Guanches, they were given a huge amount of land here. The old castle, you can see it on the beach down the bottom. If you go to Maidalika Beach, you can see the old castle there, still there. But it's now been renovated. It's lived in by a very wealthy Spanish guy that was the architect for the whole of the resort. And he lives there now, and it's used for special occasions. If any of the royal family come to visit, that's where they stay. So we have history here as well as England. You know, people think that this is very shallow, a very very shallow place to be, but historically, this island's history goes back to the Guanxi days when they were thought to be Egyptian slaves from North African traders, and they lived in the cliffs, in the mountains, and in caves, and they had 7 kings who ruled different areas. And when the Spanish came, they wiped them all out, 40,000 of them in one day, in Valiguera in the north. And the history of the Guanxis, they build pyramids, they mummified the dead, and they write in hieroglyphics. So there's a lot of history if you know what you're talking about. It's a fantastic island to live on. We have climate changes here which are unbelievable. And the Tidey, which you can't really see it from here, but Tidey, from the sea to its peak, is the steepest mountain in Europe. And it's probably about the 3rd or 4th, it's the highest in Spain, but probably about the 3rd or 4th highest mountain in Europe. And with that height you get different climate changes. You very rarely get a shortage of water here, because the mountain's so high and it's so hot that in the afternoon and the evening, and it goes cold, you get condensation. That condensation condenses in artesian wells, and those artesian wells are the source of most of the island's water. And there's concerns by the Green Party that there's not enough water, but they've not used any other sources apart from natural sources. There's no desalination on the island, which in every other Canary island there is, and there's massive water resources here. I'm just going through a new area here which is being built at the moment. The road links are great. This is a motorway that goes 3/4 of the way around the island. So from here to Santa Cruz you can be there in 40 minutes, and from here to Puerto La Cruz about an hour. Still can't see Taylor's. All this new build you can see here, this urban area here, is not only for tourists, this is for people supporting the tourist industry. So we get 4 or 5 million tourists a year here, and the backup that they need to look after them, the waiters and the restaurant managers, and the ice cream salesmen, the people that deliver products, and everything else, all live on the outskirts of Las Americas, in areas such as this here. And also lots of retired English people. An immense amount of English people that want to move here. Or like me, people who've lived in the resort for years and want to just step backwards and move and have a quieter pace of life and drive 15 minutes out of town and live in a little village and live in rural areas, which is nice as well. This is where we're starting to go back to the tourism area now. This is the heart of Las Americas, where the tall buildings are. This is where it all came from, bananas. A little banana plantation here, but the whole island is covered in bananas. You can't really see it unless you fly over it. You can see in the north the whole island is all bananas. But this was banana land before it became tourism. We get all the celebrities here. A lot of the celebrities here stay in this Fania Bay area, which is this new area down this end here. We have people like David Bowie. He was going to open a recording studio here. I don't think he ever did, but he was talking about doing that. He's been here a few times, David Bowie. We had recently I can't remember her name now, the girl that sings it was quite a lot of the celebrities come here. I think the girls from Big Brother, the girl from Big Brother's always here. Is it Jade?
Oh, Jade, yeah.
Jade. She's here all the time. Footballers. We've sold some property to come to the Premier Division footballers to Lucas Neal has bought a property here in Fanny Bay. He plays for Middleton. We also Pat Busby was one of the early people to buy an apartment. He bought an apartment here really early days in Los Cristianos. So all the footballers have been here and had a look. A lot of them are born here. This area is going to be the biggest water park in the world. It belongs to the Lair Park, and they're going to build the extreme water park here, which is going to be unbelievable. The sand. This is more or less, this barranco here, this riverbed here, is the change between Adeje and Arona. Those are two areas that are both Costa Adeje, but one area's Arona,